All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we'll be chatting with Nicole from Full Moon Paranormal, which is an all female group based out of the Hudson Valley in New York. Nicole has been studying the paranormal most of her life, starting when she was very young. During investigations, she prefers to focus on phenomena that you can document and measure. In addition to her work with the team, Nicole also co hosts Alienate UK podcast, available on YouTube. So stay tuned for that and more on Unraveling the Darkness. Good evening, Aaron.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Good. Good.
Yeah, good. Been
Busy.
having
Busy
some
week.
big thunderstorms coming through. I've been loving that.
Yeah. We're supposed to get like this weekend. We're supposed to be out taking pictures and we might be all inside pictures this weekend.
I saw that. Yeah, that's all right. We've got some pretty cool spots I think we can hit up. So
For sure. For sure. So how was your week?
it was good. Busy studying for this
Yeah.
test I got coming up in a few weeks. And
I saw your study packet. It's like
yeah,
that thick and just it was
yeah,
like, oh my gosh.
it's
You
massive.
know,
So
I told you then, but I want to tell you now where everyone knows it, like proud of what you and Gina have done. She graduated this past weekend and
she
you're doing
did.
that.
Yeah.
And my attention span is about 20 minutes. So what you guys do, I'm pretty proud of y'all.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it can be hard because I'll be sitting there studying, and then I'm like, oh man, I got to do this for the podcast, or oh, I got to do this for a video to edit, and then yeah, it's like squirrel, and then I'm always looking at something else. So
Right. Yeah, I'm lucky to get horrible attention span.
yeah, I'm
So
noticing as I get older, mine's pretty bad too. So
Gina's over there wishing you good luck on your stuff.
oh, thank you, Gina.
So um yeah, just a crazy week. Lots of family in for her and yeah, good time. Back to work tomorrow for me. I'm bummed.
Yeah. It's always hard coming back from vacation, especially you
Yeah,
got family in, and you're busy doing everything. So sometimes vacation isn't exactly vacation, right?
right.
You're
Yeah,
always
two
running.
days
So
back and then 2 days back and then 3 days off. So can't beat that.
yep, yep, that'll be
So
good.
excited for tonight. Um, we have Nicole from Full Moon
Yeah.
Paranormal. They're out in New York. Like lots of cool stuff over that way.
Yeah, we haven't talked to anybody from New York yet, I don't think.
I don't think so. We were a Tennessee podcast for so long.
For a long time now, we're moving further east.
I thought we were living there for a bit.
I know.
All right. Well, let's bring her in and start
All
chatting.
right. Hey,
Hey
Nicole, how
guys,
you doing?
good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Very good.
Uh,
I love your intro. First of all, that's
thanks.
awesome.
Oh, thank you.
We a few weeks ago we had to change the name of the podcast because Old West Vigilante Justice wouldn't let us do anything. And one of the people I follow had that on their page, a little jackalope thing, which fits for Wyoming. And we asked Bill if we could use that, and he was more than happy to let us use it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Just kind of
Yeah.
fell into place.
Yeah, it was a quick rebranding, but I think it went pretty well. So
Yeah, I think once you find something that fits, it's easy.
yep, everything just kind of falls into place from there.
It did too.
Mhm.
Like it was almost not that it was meant to be because we didn't want to do that, but it did all kind of fall into place within 24 hours or so.
Yep.
Yeah, when Andy had rebranded the podcast Alienate UK, it was just like something clicked, and it's like that was what it was meant to be.
That's a really cool name for a podcast. I like that. Alienate.
It came from, he has like this little alien in a jar. I don't know if it's like a natural thing. I don't know if it's like a movie prop. We don't know what it is. But somebody named it Nate, Alien 8.
Oh, that's awesome.
and that's where it comes from.
Right on. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's
So
definitely an interesting.
yeah. So Nicole, what got you into the paranormal? What made you want to investigate the paranormal?
Jeez. I have been interested in the paranormal for literally as long as I can remember. I was always asking my parents to buy me books from the New Age section with all the ghost stories and asking them to take me to Salem and so I could investigate. Growing up, we lived in a haunted house. There was the ghost of a man named Charlie who supposedly choked on a chicken bone, and
Oh,
it was just very natural. It was like, oh, you heard noise? That's just Charlie.
huh. Um, gosh, what a horrible way to go. Choking on a
Yeah,
chicken bone.
that's the story anyway. I have no idea if it's true, but you heard him
um,
coughing, so you never know.
so from there, you decided that that was something you wanted to do. I'm guessing as you got older, you found Full Moon, or were they already started, or did you help start them?
Yeah, so Lisa and Debbie actually they founded Full Moon Paranormal. They were doing a lot of stuff in the area with another group, and they just didn't really love the way that their public events were being run. They wanted something where you could kind of do what you wanted to do and be part of the investigation rather than just watch somebody investigating. So they formed Full Moon Paranormal in March of 2021, and April of 2021 was going to be their first public event at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie. It's kind of notoriously haunted. They host a lot of rock shows. Um, and I was going to get tickets to that event, but then I went on their Facebook page and I saw that they were looking for another investigator. So I applied. They called me. I think we talked for probably like 2 hours that day. And so I was there right from the very beginning, from the first event, working with Full
Nice,
Moon.
nice.
That's one
Uh,
of the things I really love doing in this field is, doing the public events and, getting people to come in and, kind of like what you were saying, we want it interactive. We don't want, people just kind of following us around. We're using the equipment and watch us. And it's so fun to see that, like when you start out, the group's always real quiet and kind of letting you lead. But as things start happening and they get more comfortable, I guess, the questions start coming out, the excitement starts building, and by the end of the night, no one wants to leave because they're so engaged in it. And I love that part of doing events.
Definitely. And you never know what kind of direction they're taking because you could start with, okay, we're going to talk to John Smith in this house and we're going to ask questions about him. And then somebody comes out of left field, one of the guests, and says, oh, my uncle, everything that we're getting matches up with my uncle. So the investigation takes a completely different turn.
Yep.
So that's
yeah,
the really cool thing about it. You never
I
know
like
what you're going to get.
I like some of the questions they come up with. Like,
Yeah.
I think as investigators, we kind of have our layout and we kind of go with what we've always gone with. And they'll pop off with questions that I'm just like, never thought of that one. You
Need to
know?
start taking notes and yep.
Right.
No.
Well, and
That's
it's
what we
like
tell them in the
we've
beginning.
come up. Oh, sorry,
Go
Nicole,
ahead.
go ahead.
Say that's what we tell them in the beginning. It's like, this is para unity. Like we're learning from you as much as you're learning from us because everybody does things a little different.
Yep, absolutely. You got to have that open mind and willing to adapt and change. And sometimes some really cool stuff, even techniques, will come out of it. Aaron's got a really interesting technique that he does now with the yes no prism, that came about from doing public events. If you want to tell her about that, Aaron.
Yeah, please.
Um, it actually started when we did our premiere. We put the Yes No Prism out. Instead of doing an after party from our premiere, we're like, hey, who wants to go investigate, a building? And so like we had like 100 people at our premiere of our first episode. And so some people came, and I like to tell a story. We will host usually at the Knights of Pythias. It's a building we have access to all the time. Jason's a member. That's where we met him and brought him in. But we'll put the yes no out. I'll start telling a story about a murder, a local murder. And that first night, it was confirming everything as I was going along. And then I gave a wrong date and it said no. And I'm like, I just looked it up. Come on. And I went back and looked, and that was the date the newspaper was published, not the hanging date. And when I gave the hanging date, then it confirmed that again. Well, now the spirit likes to mess with me and will say no to a lot of this stuff. Like start out confirming stuff and then say no. And it's the same, kind of have a script on the story because, it's true. But then he'll start saying no. So we've started saying that he will ghostlight me.
Ghostly,
Yeah.
I love that. They do have a sense of humor. A lot of the
Right.
time, they're very, very funny.
I mean, there were people, right? And if you're
Mhm.
coming in and you're just asking the same stuff or you're talking about the same stuff all the time, they have to get just as bored. So, I mean, why not have fun with it? I know I would.
I would.
Yep,
Oh yeah, you're
100%.
gonna come in and talk to me at 1 in the morning. Yeah, I'm messing with you.
Oh, yeah. And I find that
Um,
we get some of the best activity when we're just, like, hanging out, bullshitting, like, joking amongst ourselves, and we have the equipment out. Like, we'll tell a joke, and everybody will be laughing, and the equipment starts going off. It's like, "Alright, I guess they like that one."
Yep.
right. Or even, you go in with an energy that you're looking to just investigate, right? But
Mhm.
then stuff isn't happening. You start talking about your day and or what everyone's done the last week or two and putting out like that good energy and they feed off that too is the way I see it.
Yep. Who would you wanna talk to? Would you wanna talk to the person that's like, "What's your name? How did you die? When did you die?" Or the person who's like, "Yeah, so this is what I had for dinner, like, what did you have for dinner?" Talking about, like, "What did you do this weekend?" Have a conversation rather than interrogation.
Right. Hey Scott, I see you over there in the comments. Thanks for coming in. Uh Always like seeing you guys. Um yeah, and some of the coolest ones, like questions that we end up hearing and some of the neat interaction is we host a ghost hunting 101 class for teens.
That's
They go through the class, then they can come to our public events. But those kids will pop off with some of the stuff that's just like I said, like, what? Where are you? And then they'll start going down this way, and it's like, well, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's one thing we've talked about doing recently is hosting, like, a workshop for kids, like, early teens to teenagers to kinda teach them about the paranormal because there's nothing like that in our area, and I think there's a big demand for it. Like, kids wanna do this.
Yeah, we've done 2 so far. They've gone over pretty well. Your timing is I think fall is much better than spring. So we're probably gonna
Yeah.
go to once a year in fall, but, yeah, I would say make sure you watch your timing, that there's no vacation times or any kind of break where families are gonna be leaving. That way you get the most interaction.
Yeah, definitely, because that's what we find with our events too. We have to, like, look at the timing, see, are there any school breaks? What's going on? Any graduations that weekend? Because we do a
Right.
public event usually once a month, sometimes more often, but usually once a month.
Yep. We're doing those and we're trying to investigate and film too. So it's still it gets a little crazy. I was looking I did a magazine article this past week and got to looking at our schedule last year and I had to apologize for how busy we were. It's like, sorry guys, I didn't realize we did all that much.
And
So
I still don't feel like we did. It's just, yeah, it's investigating has become such a major part of our lives, but it really didn't seem like we were doing stuff, at least a couple times a month last year. But yeah, we were hammered.
yeah.
That's awesome, though. Being busy is good. It's a
So
good
what
sign.
other places oh Gina's over there. Oh yeah, we did. And school. What other places are you guys doing your events at?
The ones we have coming up, we have the Carnwath Estate. So it's this old mansion that's actually condemned right now, but they built a chapel and dormitory for the monks off the back of it, and it's never been investigated before. It was used most recently as a residential facility for the mentally disabled,
Mhm.
and it has the major vibes. It's kind of like falling down, the paint crumbling. They haven't restored the upper floors yet, so we're really looking forward to getting into there and seeing what's going on.
Nice.
We
Um,
have
just
this
that one
weekend.
or okay, more? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, next week or no, Friday actually, we have an investigator only event at the Mizzier Homestead in Wappingers Falls. That is a beautiful house from the 1700s, full of history, crazy activity every time we've gone there. So really looking
Nice.
forward to that one too.
Do you mostly stay in that New York area, or do you travel out and do some other places?
We do all over. We do New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. A couple weekends ago, 2, 3 weekends ago, I was in West Virginia at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a cool one too.
I
All the
bet.
asylums and the old like abandoned buildings, I love.
Yeah, we're jealous when everyone starts talking about those. We're stuck out here in the West, and there's not those kind of places out this way, or so many. I think our closest trip out, other than the buildings we have here in Cheyenne, has been Denver, and we're still 2 hours. But anywhere else, we've been 10 hours to get somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're very
Yeah,
lucky where we are in the Hudson Valley. It's a lot of old historic homes. They've been well preserved, and a lot of them are actually really open to us coming in and helping do some fundraising for them.
very cool. Yeah, and a big problem here too is that a lot of the like the old state hospitals and stuff like that get torn down. So there's really not a lot of stuff like that. We have a lot of old saloons, brothels, um, old west type stuff. But yeah, a lot of the old mental institutions, they get torn down and the land gets repurposed pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a shame because those buildings were built beautifully a lot of the times. They're stone, they're brick, they're just gorgeous buildings that could have been used for something else.
Yep.
Yeah. The We're lucky enough that a lot of those old saloons and brothels are still around, and they've been repurposed into, you know, either private business or like retail shops. So we've
Yep.
been able to get into a few of those.
What is like your favorite place to investigate out there?
Gosh.
For me, I'm going to say the Knights. I've been a member there since 2008, so I've been investigating there since 2008, and it hasn't gotten old. It's just so much activity there, so much different stuff going on. That'll always be my favorite, I think.
Um, I'm a I'm an old West junkie. So as far as like in town, we're in the nights a lot, so it is. But I like to get to like some of those tombstone, like those older towns in the Southwest.
I haven't made it too far out that way. We usually stay on the East Coast, but I definitely want to.
We're getting ready to come out to Gettysburg in July. That'll
You're
be
coming to Gettysburg?
my second trip. Yeah, we're coming out before Battlefield Bash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That might be something we look at next year. I also think we're looking at a couple different Paracons. I know your team was just at Pennhurst this last weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's pretty cool.
It was. I think someone said there was over 9,000 people there. We met
Wow.
Josh Hayes. It was cool. Very busy, very crowded, but it was a very cool experience. Because that was my first time at Pennhurst, actually.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
I saw your picture of the line of cars waiting.
Oh, is that the picture you showed me? Yeah, that looked insane trying to get in there.
Like, look.
We drove 3 hours to get there, and then we sat in traffic for another 2.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nope.
It was a little
Wouldn't want
crazy.
to do that. We're probably looking. I just sent it to Jason Day, like Parapsychon next year. They're like already, that was this weekend as well, but
Yeah.
they already posted for next year, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? So
I say let's do it.
yeah, I'm down for it for sure.
Mhm.
What's
We usually go, Gettysburg. We usually do Para Unity in New Jersey. This year we're actually guests at the Connecticut Paracon and True Crime Convention in
nice.
July. So we got a lot going on.
Right on. It's good to stay busy, and if you like the field and you like what you're doing, then I mean, gives you a break from
easy.
what you
Yep.
normally do. And right.
Yep. It's not work if you love it.
So you asked
Yeah.
us, what's your favorite spot to investigate?
It's so hard to decide. We've been to so many cool places. I'm probably going to have to go with the Columns Museum in Milford, Pennsylvania. So that museum houses the flag that they laid under Lincoln's head when he was shot.
Oh.
So it has his blood on it.
In where, Pennsylvania?
Milford.
Milford.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to look into that.
And we did a couple investigations there. And one time it was the coolest thing. Like, you're familiar with the DR60 recorders?
Mm-hmm.
So they had 4 or 5 different DR60s in our group. And we asked them if they could finish 4 score and then on every single recorder you heard 4 score and 7 years ago.
Wow.
So I know the DR60s get like a lot of flack, you know, it's the internal noise, it's a defect. But if you're hearing the same EVP on all of the recorders at different volumes, like it was standing closer to over here, further from this one, it gives it a lot of validity.
Yeah, we have there's a place we investigated where it was that same thing. Like you could tell it was in a corner of a room because you could hear the volume difference across recorders. Pretty cool when that happens.
Yeah. Because then they can't say, you know, it's something internal, like it's something that you could hear in the room.
Right. Yeah. So crazy.
I'd like to lean on that kind of stuff, like the equipment, things that we can like record and document and film, because I am the only one on my team that is not a sensitive or a psychic medium. So the three other girls, Lisa, Stephanie, and Susan, they all have some kind of abilities. I do not. So if we go into a place and I'm like, it feels heavy in here, they're like, oh shit, Nicole feels something, like we're gonna set up here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of how me and Aaron are too. We don't really feel anything unless it's like blatant, right? Like, I mean, if we're feeling it, that means something big's going on. So yeah, we rely on a lot of the equipment too. Spirit box, you know, stuff like that.
On that note, it was pretty crazy because Monday I took Gina's dad down to the Nelson Museum and we did the Western side. Then we went over and did the military side.
Oh,
Hit
nice.
the bottom of the steps in the military side. And yeah, it's like, oh, you're back type thing. And I was like, okay. And like, if I'm feeling this, yeah, something's going on. So
well, during our investigation there, you know, when I was going back editing the video, I kept saying during the investigation that I didn't like the bottom of the stairs. I kept feeling like there was something down there, and I wasn't sure if it was just because, you know, it was dark and these stairs leading down, you know, to what looks like nothing, or you know, something was actually going on. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's exactly where that was. So yeah, same thing for us. Like if we feel it, then yeah, there is definitely something going on because we're not that sensitive to it. Yeah. And
do you guys have like a medium or a sensitive on your team, or you just mostly work with the equipment?
no, Gina's sensitive and she'll, you know, she'll start answering like our questions and I'm like, okay, so here we go. And she's like, oh yeah, they're telling me everything you want to know. So we just start throwing stuff out. And then at some point she's like, oh, they just left and I have nothing. But it was pretty interesting the first time that happened to us, her and I. Quite the story. My father just passed and it was actually him talking to her. And so it was, yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were sensitive like that. So that was pretty neat. And then we really fed into it the first time in the Bullock Hotel in Deadwood, South Dakota. You know, went to an event up there and stayed talking to the guy that was running that till like 3 a.m. And we were in the basement talking. It was used as a hospital at one point, and we were talking to some girls that were probably patients during that hospital time, and it was pretty neat.
That's cool.
So,
that's awesome. I'm jealous in a lot of ways. I'm like, I wish I had abilities, but I would second guess myself all the time. I'd be like,
Right.
am I hearing a voice or am I just going crazy?
See, and she does that, but there's like so much confirmation we've gotten over the years on recorders or a piece of equipment that coincides with what's going on. And I'm like, stop second guessing yourself.
Yep.
Like it's there, you know?
Yep. And then let alone what happens when we put her under an Estes. We do a lot of double Estes. So we'll have two people under at the same time. And it seems like whenever Gina's under Estes with somebody, it's a killer session. We get some really, really cool things. I say she's like our Estes amplifier because yeah, I mean, we'll have where, it's almost like she's responding to the other person, that's saying stuff. It's really cool.
And we've seen where she comes out and the other person stays under and like stuff just kind of dies down.
And then nothing happened. It was like
Right.
flipping a switch. Yeah.
Pretty
Isn't
crazy.
that weird though? How somebody can be like really, really good at one technique or one piece of equipment, and it's like that's their thing, and it works for them every time. And like you could hand somebody else the dowsing rods, and it won't work at all, but one person gets it, and it's on.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I like EVPs. I like doing those burst sessions and hearing something. It's like voice recorder and spirit box. If we're
Yep.
just doing a spirit box session, boy, I can pick that stuff out and we're on it and like having conversations and it's great. I'm usually the asker when they're under too, just to keep that stuff rolling. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I always get stuffed in like the deep dark corners of the attic or the basement to do Estes. Because I'm not sensitive, it doesn't bother me. Like they don't want to
Right.
go up there. Like we see a shadow figure passing in the hallway and they're like, Nicole, go check that out.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm always the one jumping to go look at that stuff too. Like we were investigating a few weeks ago, and Aaron's like, "Man, there's something in this room. I'm not liking." I'm like, "Oh, I'll take the camera and go in there." And
well,
It was like, oh, we heard a noise. All right, let's go.
let's do it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I solo. But now that we got Michelle in the group, so now there's two of us that'll do solos at locations. So
yeah.
Well, like I wanted to do that when we were, oh, she's horrible. Oh, Trans Allegheny. When we wanted to sit in the separate rooms and do solos, kind of down the hall from each other, just to see what we would experience. If it was the same thing, if it was different things.
Yeah, we haven't, as this team, with Jason and Michelle, we haven't really split up and done like 4 solos. We also haven't been in anywhere where we've had that much space either.
yeah,
When we first started out, every Labor Day we do a big trip. That's our big investigation out here where we travel quite a ways. And our first year we did Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs, Iowa. 4 floors, so we were able to separate everyone on a floor, which was pretty cool. This year, we might be able to do that this year too.
yeah. I think we'll be able to.
Yeah, that separating and just doing a solo. I won't leave someone just under Estes.
Yeah.
Too vulnerable, I feel.
Yep.
Yeah, because you kind of go into that altered state and you kind of open to everything coming in.
Yeah. So your favorite piece of equipment then, since you're the equipment person, is?
It varies by location because sometimes we get great things in one place with one piece of equipment and nothing at the next place. But I really like the spirit box. I really like doing Estes. I like my tripwire. It's good for like covering a large amount of
Yeah.
space. And I love my my Paralight, the lantern.
Oh yeah.
That never goes off, and it went off in one of the kids' rooms at Trans Allegheny, and we weren't even in the room. We heard it from down the hall.
Wow.
Is the Paralight, is that a EMF or is it REM?
It can do both.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I've heard some good things about it. I was thinking about getting one, but I haven't looked into it yet. I absolutely love the yes no, or what do they call it, the flux device, I think, on Ghost Stop. And yeah, that seems to kind of be my thing is, I I always set that up, and we seem to get good responses with it.
I had one of those and it broke. And everybody I know had one and it broke. But they worked great, like when they worked.
How did it break? What did it start doing? Or did it just not do anything?
It did not do anything. Like I charge it, it doesn't do anything. And I've had several people have the same thing happen. But I really like it as a piece of equipment. I just need to fix it.
Mine starts like it'll turn on and calibrate, and then it'll start flashing red green just over and over and over, and it won't stop. And then it just seems like once it starts doing that, it's useless the rest of the night. And then I can use it in the next investigation and it'll be perfectly fine. But Aaron's got one that it started doing that too.
Mm-hmm. So let me do this. Scott, if you're still over there in the comments and still watching,
yes, no.
How about a yes, no that works right?
Building equipment.
Yeah, Horn Paranormal. They're out of Reno. They're one of our sponsors, actually. Great people. Great people. Check out their stuff. Horn Paranormal Research. They do an XLS, an SLS, a full spectrum SLS. They do some REMs. They do some different stuff. But yeah. Hey, Scott, we need a working yes-no box or something.
That would be awesome. But yeah,
like
sponsorship aside, they have the best SLS and XLS camera I've ever seen. The LiDAR on that XLS, I say it every time, it's amazing. The resolution, in a pitch black room, you can actually make out someone's facial features. It's an amazing piece of equipment. That's quickly becoming my favorite.
Well, the new full spectrum SLS, what we caught in our last investigation was pretty cool because you don't lose like the equipment in the screen like you do with the XLS, where everything's a color. So you have the full spectrum camera, and then you still have the SLS figures.
Yep.
So we see like a figure messing with the music box, just in regular full spectrum light because you don't have all the colors from the XLS. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, you could actually see the arm moving as the music box was going off and on.
All right. So what do you guys recommend there? SLS or their XLS?
I would say the full spectrum SLS. Okay. That's their newest one. Yep.
Look what we talked about before we went live, having 16,000 tabs open. This is what happens. I'm like, okay, now I have Horn Paranormal Research open, so I can look into that after the show.
Nice.
Yeah. Tell them we sent you. That way, maybe they'll keep doing stuff with us.
Yeah.
Or, super good people.
I'm always looking for new equipment.
Aren't we all? Like working equipment, stuff that actually does do stuff, and show stuff. I mean, of course, nothing tells us there's a spirit there, but
this is true.
It does help.
Yep.
Yeah, it helps measure changes in the environment. It helps get answers to our questions. That's what we're looking for.
Yep. So your Alienate podcast.
Yeah. So Andy Decodes, he started Alienate UK. He is the host. I'm his co-host. I went on there actually as a guest a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I never left.
Nice.
What do
you all cover over there?
Anything, everything really.
Okay.
Mostly paranormal. A lot of cryptids, a lot of UFOs, some ghosts. We also talk to people in the entertainment industry, comedians, actors, directors. So we're all over the place.
That's cool. Yeah, we've done cryptids and ghosts, but we haven't had any UFO researchers on yet. I've been looking forward to getting some UFO people on.
We get all kinds. Like we've had people who were involved in the Montauk Project.
Oh,
we've had people who claim to have been part of some other government projects, and they were alien super soldiers. Like, a lot of really interesting stories, a lot of interesting people.
I
Oh,
tell you, one that always interested me was the 20 and back story with the kids that would be abducted and trained as these, number one, their psychic abilities would be developed through like these inoculations, and then they would be sent to Mars in the Kuiper Belt as like a military force for 20 years. Um, and then when their 20 years is up, it was like a snap of the finger and all their abilities are gone and they're back to being children again.
Yes. Yeah, we interviewed somebody who that was the case for him. And it sounds super unbelievable because you're talking about like these giant grasshopper looking praying mantis aliens that you're fighting in regeneration.
Yep.
But the fact is, he is stuck to his story on every show. If he doesn't know something, like, he would tell you, I don't know, I don't remember, or I didn't have access to that information. So whether or not it actually physically happened, I believe that was his experience, his reality.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah. We've had, like you said, Bigfoot people. I'm really still just paranormal spirits, ghost type thing. Jason is definitely more the cryptids, and I will sit here and just listen and watch him, ask all the Bigfoot questions, ask all the stuff, and it's like it really gets me to thinking. So yeah, as far as like Bigfoot, I think there might be something out there. We get an alien person on. I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff fly across the sky faster than a plane does. So, let's see.
No, well, talking about Bigfoot and everything, do you think physical being? Do you think interdimensional? What do you think Bigfoot is?
I'm along the lines of more a physical being and not so much interdimensional. I don't know why, but I think that like it's just there. I don't think it's coming in through a portal or anything like that.
I go back and forth. I I hate relying on TV shows, but Expedition Bigfoot has really started to kind of change how I see the whole Sasquatch thing with where they caught that thermal signature that seemed to just close in on itself, across that lake. They brought that LiDAR, that professional LiDAR scanner out, and they actually caught a figure walk through their camp that wasn't visible, invisible light, but it was captured on this LiDAR scanner that the scientist brought out and was doing scans, and it was enough that it looked like it rattled that scientist. He didn't have an explanation for what could have caused that, 6 or 7 foot tall signature that wasn't visible.
I love when they baffle the scientists because scientists want to have an answer for everything. And if they can't find the answer, then there might not be one.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's why I'm leaning more and more towards like interdimensional. Like Sean asked, do we think there's multiple kinds like Yeti, Bigfoot? I definitely think there's multiple kinds between Yeti and Bigfoot, just like, animals differ, across continents, right? We have different species of deer all over the world. So I think it's probably an evolved species personally in different
Yeah,
parts of the world.
that's what I think, that they're kind of like two sides of the same coin, like they're cousins. Same thing, but, in their own areas.
Yep.
Yep.
And they seem to vary even around the US. I mean, you have, Sasquatch, that's kind of seen out west. Then you got the kind that's, seen up in Washington and Oregon. And then you get, Rougarou, I think it is, down in
Rougarou.
Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And then the skunk ape in Florida. So, yeah, I think it varies even across the US.
Yeah. And they have, apparently, I just learned, from Pennsylvania, they have like a mini Bigfoot. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a Bigfoot, but little.
Oh boy.
Little
Short.
Bigfoot.
Little
Gina
Bigfoot.
already asked if she could pet one at Bigfoot Fest. So
Hey,
We had a
let's
guest
go
on,
find
and
her one. She can pet one.
she lives in Amish country, and she was talking about how this Amish man had an experience with like a Bigfoot but short, and it didn't seem like a juvenile Bigfoot. It was just a short guy. And now I want to go find them because it sounds freaking adorable.
I can only imagine, like 3 foot tall and like, just, hey, little guy.
Yeah, you just lead it around like a little toddler. Like, come on, Bigfoot.
Yeah, the Albert witches. That's what they are.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's what it's called, the albatwitch.
Huh.
It even sounds
Well,
cute.
we're spending some time out there, here soon. So
Hey,
who knows?
maybe that's something we can go do for a little bit out there.
Yeah.
Mhm. So are you guys doing any investigations when you're out in Gettysburg?
We have not looked into anything just yet. Well, gosh, I think we're only like a month and a half out now. So if we do, we probably need to get on that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be on the battlefields after sunset, but when I was out there, we spent 3 nights on the battlefields from like 12:30 or 11:30 to like 4 a.m. Wow. Wow. Just a crazy place. Like the energy there, you feel it, it's palpable and it's so crazy.
I can tell you
I
that. Do not go out after dark because they will call the Rangers on you and you will almost get arrested.
Yeah, so after I got back, I started looking at some Gettysburg pages, and I realized that like that is a military, national military park with the Rangers, and then there's actually a group that they have that'll go through the park and see if people are out there, and then call the Rangers. So the older I get, the less time I want to spend in jail.
Yep.
So we do have like an experiment that we're going to try, and maybe set up some recorders somewhere overnight and pick them up the next morning. And I know they're going to pick stuff up. Like just being out there,
Yep.
you hear stuff. We were hearing people talk on the other side of this little hill that we were just at. Musket fire. I heard a bugle at 2 a.m. I'm out there and you hear this bugle. What? No one's out there just doing that. So,
that's morning.
so I mean, we have a few recorders. I think we're just going to try to go drop off and pick up in the morning and see what we catch overnight.
We got cannon fire in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
we were investigating one of the houses that was on the battlefield, which we were trying to get into this year, but apparently they shut everything down. You can't rent those houses anymore, which is a damn shame because it was awesome. Like these houses were like field hospitals where people were stationed during the battle, and they were awesome to investigate.
Yeah, I went out to help a friend with his event, and we were staying at the Inn at Air Ridge, and it was a Confederate hospital. And we had a couple groups. We were downstairs. We came upstairs, and they're like, "Did you hear that cannon?" And we're like, "No, we're downstairs." But we were talking to like this 18-year-old Confederate soldier that was like so scared. It was crazy. It was so cool. Such a cool place. I'm excited to get everyone else out there. It was just going to be a vacation for Gina and I, and we offered it up to everyone. We're like, "Hey, we're going here. Do you want to go?" And now the whole team's going. And yeah, we're excited. So we probably need to look into somewhere to investigate one night while we're there. We already kind of have not a busy schedule, but one day we're going to go down to DC and do some stuff there and then come back up. But yeah, it should be a cool trip.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to Gettysburg. I was born out east and lived in North Carolina for a while and all that, but I've just never made it up there. I'm really, really excited to go check it out. And yeah, I think we're gonna. Hey, Michael. I think we're gonna, look at some maps and maybe try to find a way to, kind of triangulate the recorders and, see if we can get some correlating evidence right between recorders. See if we can capture same type of sounds and try to figure out kind of where they're coming from.
If you get a chance, make sure you go to the Dobbin House Tavern. Have you heard of it? You've been there before, right, Aaron? It's awesome. They let us just walk around last time because it wasn't very busy. So we got to go upstairs and explore all the rooms.
Oh, wow.
They have like one room that just has a bunch of dolls in it. It's cool.
Not a doll fan.
Not a doll fan? I
Not a
have two
doll.
haunted dolls in my trunk right now.
There's one in the garage, but yeah, not a doll fan.
There's a reason they don't come in the house. They stay in my trunk.
Yeah, Dobbin House is on the list. I want to go eat there. And then I can't remember the guy's name. I looked it up and I know I'll write it down before we go, but he's written a ton of books and he hosts a tour there. And I thought we'd go on his ghost tour too. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we're hitting the Jenny Wade house when we go this year. Last year we did the orphanage.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did you just contact them and tell them what you want to do and they do stuff like that, or?
Yeah, you can book them right online. They do private investigations, so like just you and your group, or you can do a public one.
Okay. We will have to go check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that and see, because I think it would definitely be fun to do an investigation while we're out there.
Yeah, and we are going like over the battle, when the battle happened. So first, second, third, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So that's going to be even more, because it is. It's just, you've been there. Like you just roll into town and you can feel how crazy it is.
Yeah, I love it there. I'm so excited to go back again. And actually, Andy from Alien 8, he's coming and he's meeting me there. So I'm going to meet up with him for the first time in person.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And he thought that he could not rent a car and just, walk around the battlefield. I'm like, this isn't the UK, Andy. Like, the battlefield alone is like 10 miles across.
Yeah.
You're not walking that.
26 square miles is where the battle happened. Like the center of Gettysburg, you see it and it happened there, Yeah. Gina and I were talking about that the other day. People from the UK that come out and they're like, oh, we're going to just drive across the country and it's like,
they fly into New York and they're like, yeah,
two.
we want to go see San Diego. It's like, yeah, not going to happen. You're only here for 3 days.
Right. Yeah. One of those days we'll be driving across Texas.
Yep.
It's crazy how far we travel for investigations sometimes, though. Like, I'll tell Andy, well, we just drove 7 hours to go to West Virginia. And he's 7 hours, and I'd be 3 countries across.
Right?
Yeah.
I do want to get out to the UK, though. I have never been.
Ireland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lep Castle is like my bucket list. Just such a cool place.
Mm-hmm. But you can take a week or two and see all of UK and Ireland and Scotland.
Right.
Here you could see New York and New Jersey.
Well, no, because on the coast, you guys definitely are closer together and you can cover some states in a day or a couple days. Out here we're not as lucky. We're 8 hours to get across Wyoming. So we're 8 hours to get across Kansas or Nebraska. So, I was just looking at Ohio State Reformatory because that's where Parapsychon is, right? So I was like, okay, so what is that next year if we want to go? 19 hours.
So far.
Well, that's better than Penhurst. I mean, and if we want to take our stuff and set up as a vendor and we do that, we can't just fly with everything. So
yeah, that would get expensive quick.
Right. Yeah. But
somebody just needs to get working on teleportation.
Right?
For sure.
Or a bullet train, something.
Everywhere.
Bullet train. That's what we need across the country.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. Specifically paranormal reasons.
Strictly paranormal.
Yes. Stay away. This is so we can investigate the other side of the country.
That's
right.
It. Yeah.
So bucket list place, since I just said one, what's your bucket list place that you want to go to?
Well, Trans-Allegheny was on there, but I just checked that one off. I do want to go to Ohio State Reformatory, West Virginia State Penitentiary, Winchester House. I have a very big bucket list.
Winchester House. Yeah, that's a cool one. I would love to get out there.
I think the Hellfire Club is moving up on my list.
Oh.
If we can ever get out there to Ireland and UK area. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much the team's going to pay for that one.
We'll figure it out. We'll just have
We'll be
to
doing car washes and stuff.
triple or quadruple up our events for the year.
Bikini car washes.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. And people can pay me not to wash their car. So
Do a ghost bikini car wash. Nobody even has to show up. Just say, look, it's
there we
the ghost
go.
washing your car. You just can't see them. It'll sell.
Yes. Oh,
That's
so
the thing,
funny.
like, these get expensive. People don't realize like the equipment adds up, travel adds up, and you're doing these events, and a lot of it, for us at least, goes to a donation back to the place to help keep them going.
Yep.
Damn, we're broke.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're looking, $500 a night to rent a place,
Mhm.
travel, everything else, it adds up quick.
Yeah. I think for our
Yeah.
Labor Day trip, we're up to like almost $3,000, aren't we?
We are $2,000, and that doesn't cover all of the Airbnb.
That's right. Yep.
So
And
we're
that'll
doing,
still be, like a 10.5 hour drive.
we're going to go to Butte, Montana,
Nice. What are you
and
doing there?
Dumas Brothel.
Cool.
It was a brothel from about 1890 to 1982. So yeah, pretty cool place. It's been on some of the shows, and so we'll just see how it works out. We've done that before, where we've been where some of the others have been, and we were a bit disappointed compared to what we've
Yeah, I
seen.
feel like all those places get hyped up, especially like the places on a lot of shows, because they edit out all the downtime. So all you see is like action, action, action. And you
Yep.
go and you're like, all right, this is kind of dead.
Right. Well, and that's something we mentioned in our public investigation. What you see on TV, those people are there 3 to 5 days.
Yes.
So you're seeing 43 minutes of the best stuff they got, not the, other 10 or 12 hours of the day where they're just sitting around asking stuff and not getting anything.
Mm-hmm. But
For sure.
that comes with the territory, and that's why it's important to work with people that you really like, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them.
A lot of time. Yep.
In dark basements. You might as well enjoy their company.
That's it. Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
You talked about your events coming up. Anything else that you want to cover?
No, I mean, everybody can find us on fullmoonparanormal.com or on our Facebook page, Full Moon Paranormal. We list all our events, what we have coming up. Alienate UK over on YouTube. We're live every Wednesday at 3:30 Eastern Time, 8:30 UK time. It would be 1:30 Mountain Time.
Yep.
Yeah. I've gotten really good at converting
All the
Eastern to
conversions.
UK, but until we get to daylight savings, because the UK like goes forward and backwards like 3 weeks ahead of us.
Oh.
So then I'm either an
geez.
hour late or an hour early for the show every week.
Yeah, that would be tough to keep track of.
Yeah. Crazy enough that it's 8 their time, 3:30 your time. So you've already done a podcast today.
I have, yep. Yeah,
Nice.
we talked Bigfoot, astral travel, a little bit of everything today.
That's one thing I would love to get someone on that's been to the Monroe Institute and talk about, the astral projection program that they do out there. I've put a couple calls out to on Facebook looking for somebody that's, attended one of their classes, and I haven't got anybody yet that's been to the Monroe Institute.
I feel like I know somebody who's been to the Monroe Institute. I just have to remember who, and then I can put you in touch.
Cool.
I definitely talked about it before, so
that'd be
I'll
great.
find out who that was.
Nice.
Cool stuff.
Well, Nicole, it has been a quick hour, and we appreciate you coming on, especially since you've had a busy day already with another podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And as we start to see some of those other events, we'll try to bring you on again later.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll try to get you guys on Alienate. I'll check the calendar if you'd like to come on and talk more about what you
that'd be
guys
awesome.
do.
For sure. We'd love to talk about like Western spirits, and I feel it's a little different. We talked about this before too. They're a little more gruff, and a little more wild, I feel, because of how the West had to be won.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to talk more about that. All
Nice. Well, thanks for coming on, and we look forward to talking to you some more again.
right, thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Another great show. I say it every week because we do. We have some of the best guests.
We do. And it's just so fun to talk to people that are passionate about what they do in the field. So
Yeah,
it's easy every week to do this.
it is. We need to thank Horn Paranormal for sponsoring us, and we love you guys. A yes/no device that works would be great. Twinkle twinkle little
Sure, I'll
store.
just whip one up.
Twinkle twinkle little store. I know Patricia and Tim were out in Vegas this weekend. I saw them enjoying some great food out that way. And then Saturday, our event tickets go on sale. June 14th, we have the Nelson Museum of the West, the VIP experience, 8 people. That episode is free on Paraflix, Paranormal Plus. So you can go over there and watch that on the free side. You can also see it on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, this should be a fun event. I always like doing the the VIPs, smaller group, kind of cover more ground, and yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, I was messaging Aaron this past weekend, and he's excited for it again.
Good. Yeah, I like
Yep.
when they're able to come along.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See y'all next week. Unraveling the Darkness would like to thank Horn Paranormal Research and Twinkle Twinkle Little Store for sponsoring our show. If you're craving more paranormal content, don't forget to check out our YouTube and Facebook channels at Way Out West Paranormal and Unraveling the Darkness. You can catch all of our episodes of Unraveling the Darkness on Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe as it helps others find the show and join in on the paranormal fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep your lights on, stay safe, and remember, the truth is out there, and it might just be closer than you think.